One. Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the College Basketball Recap Preview Show for February 23rd, 2024, as we go over some of the recaps of some of the best games that happened, including Connecticut Marquette, Connecticut, and Creighton, and what happened last night with Washington State and Arizona. And we're going to preview some of the best matchups with Houston and the Baylor Bear Necessities. And what's going on with the South Florida Bulls? No, I don't have Will with me tonight. He's got some important matters tonight. He's very busy. But I will tell you this, though. You see him on the college football recap preview shows. You see him on some of these videos. We call him Autofill in Austin. Booyah! How you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I'm here for the fill-in. Can't wait to talk some college hoops. And Jackson, you had to bring the bare necessities back, didn't you? They can't get. You done jinxed them in college football. Now you're gonna jinx them. Now you're gonna jinx them in basketball. Come on, Jackson.
Oh man, I put Dave Aranda on the hot seat unintentionally. Sorry, Dave Aranda. And we have friend of the show, Sorgy Story, say, "What's up, guys? We are Marquette." Agreed. I got a feeling Connecticut's gonna have a rough time going to Marquette in March. It's gonna get ugly. Will's a busy man, for sure he is.
Yeah, Will's a busy man, but I'm here to fill in. I'll do just as good a job as I can, and I'll make sure to keep my Louisville bias out of it. But we're here, and let's get to it, good buddy. I can't wait to talk some hoops with you.
Oh man. And we start off with Connecticut and Marquette. You know, Connecticut smacked around Marquette, and our friend Anthony Sorgi came on last week to discuss the preview of Marquette UConn. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to get ugly for UConn once they have that rematch.
Yeah, this was a game that I was really excited for. You know, UConn, Marquette. You know, UConn had looked like one of the best teams up to this point. And Marquette, you know, with Shaka Smart, you know, this was a big test for them to see where they exactly stood in the Big East and where they stood within college basketball. And it just goes to show that when you go and play UConn on the road, they're not an easy team to beat. But UConn showed here tonight in this game, they showed they might be the best team in all of the land up to this point because they blew Marquette out of the water. And Marquette was ranked, I believe, in the top 15 when this took place. And the fact that they just walked them, that says something. And I don't think it's time to be concerned for Marquette because it is UConn. But if this was any other team, I'd be a little concerned for Marquette. But as for UConn, they just took care of business, Jackson. That's all you could say about that. They took them to the woodshed.
Yeah, unfortunately, they got out the belt and gave Marquette a spanking. But Marquette's got revenge sitting there waiting in March. I'd hate to be UConn, especially when they go on the road.
Yeah, I agree. And sorry to Sorgi that he had to sit through that, but and that's what you get when you play UConn. Hopefully, if y'all meet in the Big East tournament, maybe this time you'll get the W over them. Hopefully. For your sake, Sorgi. I hope they win the Big East.
Oh, I think Marquette's got revenge waiting. They're going to spank UConn.
Oh, Texas boy, that's a big statement right there, good buddy. But go ahead.
Yeah, Texas got spanked by Houston, 82-61. They're not looking too happy. Rodney and Terry, I bet.
Yeah, Jackson, you know, I think Texas, you know, a lot of people were saying Texas might be back in both football and basketball after they made the incredible run they did last year. And then this year they're kind of up and down, like, they're not good, they're not bad, but they're not great either. And then you look at Houston on the other side of the spectrum. They were a team coming over from the American Athletic Conference. A lot of people doubted whether Houston could hang in the Big 12 because you've got Kansas, Baylor, Tech, Oklahoma. It's loaded in the conference, and nobody is really a bad team in that conference, except maybe Oklahoma State. Other than that, most every team's been good. But Houston and Kelvin Sampson have seemed to reloaded. They've gotten better, and they're proving to the world why they're a top contender when it comes to any conference they play in, and when it comes to March. I like this Houston win, and I think Houston might be my favorite to go to the Final Four, along with UConn.
I guess we'll wait and see what happens for Houston. I just don't want to see them be Purdue or whatever, because, I mean, I'm ready to see what they bring. Final Four, here you go. Arizona, they smacked Arizona State, gave them a spanking.
Yeah, Arizona basically told their rival Arizona State, "This is our territory. Get over." I mean, this was a spanking, and it was at home for Arizona. Arizona is a very tough team to beat at home. I mean, it's evident no matter who they play. We'll get to last night's game between Arizona and Washington State later, but that winning streak at home for Arizona ended. But as of this point, a great win for Arizona, and for Arizona State, they took a little step back.
For sure. And we see Kansas beat Oklahoma in a 10-point victory. And the Tennessee Volunteers are beating up on Vanderbilt. But, I mean, let's be honest. You're supposed to beat Vanderbilt. Show me what you can do in March, Tennessee. Show me what you can do in the Sweet 16.
Oh, goodness.
Go to an Elite 8. You're going to get me mad, Tennessee. I don't care what you can do regular season. You're going to fall apart through a 16, aren't you?
This is college football all over again. Like, this is what happens. See, Jackson, Tennessee's just basically getting on your nerves across all the sports, aren't they? Because in football, you were like, oh, they were bragging.
So short. They always fall so short.
Because, Jackson, I remember Tennessee fans were bragging they beat A&M, and you were like, that's not impressive because this is not 1939 Texas A&M. And now apparently the basketball team is going to get it. And their fans are pretty good when it comes to the basketball team.
Yeah, but they're good in the regular season. They don't do squat in the NCAA tourney. They don't do anything in the postseason.
Yeah, that is true. It's hard to argue with that, Jackson. No doubt about it. No arguments here. Like Tennessee, if they make the Sweet 16, I consider that a great season for them. I don't expect them to go any longer than that.
And Tennessee be going home in the first weekend of the tourney. Sorgy Story says, Nick the Legend, a.k.a. Sorgy Story's moderator, is a Vols fan, so I like when they lose.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Well, Duke's win against Florida State, and Iowa State's doing very well against Texas Tech.
Yeah, those are two big wins right there, especially for Duke because they're trying to catch North Carolina in the ACC for first, I believe. So they couldn't slip up to a Florida State team who dug themselves a pretty deep hole at the beginning of the year, and they were kind of climbing out of it, but now it's kind of like they're teetering, like they might have to win the conference tournament to get a automatic qualifier bid. I don't know if they'll get an at-large bid. I don't know if they have enough on their resume for the committee to be like, okay, Florida State, we could give you a 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know if they've got that good of a resume to get that. No, Iowa State, a great win for them, and it just goes to show that Iowa State's looking good as well.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Cyclones can bring in March, but I guess we'll wait and see. Florida State isn't making March Madness that No, they aren't. I don't think they are anyhow. But it'll be interesting to see what they can do in the conference tournament.
Jackson, is it time to talk about South Carolina as frauds? I mean, there was the hype train going on for them for a while, and then they blow it to LSU. I mean,
man. You're gonna disappoint Todd Gwynn because he's a huge South Carolina fan. I mean, he's just like I doubted South Carolina once, and he's like, "Don't doubt him, Jackson. Don't doubt him." But I was like, "You're right. South Carolina's pretty good, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet, Austin."
I'm not, Jackson. I'm not. I'm just saying that it may be time to consider because I know LSU's coming off that big win over Kentucky, which we'll get to. Yeah, and Sorgi points out South Carolina gets all the way up to 11 and they do this. Yeah, that's kind of head shaking. You make it all the way up there and then you lose at home to a very pedestrian LSU team. I got some questions. I need some answerings from. I need some answers here, South Carolina. Let's hope you can provide some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if LSU is looking like a bubble team or if it's just an overreaction. And we see Baylor's beating up on West Virginia, but I mean, at this point, I think West Virginia wants to get through this pitiful year. They've suffered enough, so we're not going to go near West Virginia in that regard. You've suffered enough, Mountaineers.
Yeah, it sucks too that it sucks that the way that they let go of Bob Huggins and now how much their team is going downhill from it. It sucks because when West Virginia is good, it's good for college basketball, but they're not doing so hot. Maybe 2 or 3 years from now, maybe they'll be relevant again.
That is true, man. I mean, but it's going to be tough, especially in the Big 12. But as for the SEC, we got a Kentucky victory over the Auburn Tigers.
Ugh. Jackson, hearing you say that makes me want to puke. Like anytime Kentucky wins, all I ever hear is that Kentucky's going to win it all. It makes me sick as a Louisville fan. Like, calm down. Go ahead.
They haven't been to a Final Four since before TikTok.
Oh boy, don't take us down the TikTok road there, Jackson. But what happened, Kentucky? What happened, Auburn? I had so much faith you were going to win this game. I even picked you to win, and you lost. You're supposed to be the better team, the more physical team, and Kentucky beat you at your own game. So disappointing. Go ahead, Jackson.
Well, on the bright side, I think they'll do better in March. I mean, they'll probably start curb stomp Kentucky or beat them in tight fashion in the SEC tournament.
Good. Anything to get Kentucky fans all away, that works for me. But as we see, Illinois beats Maryland on the road. Jackson, are the Fighting Illini? Are they finally starting to gain some momentum? Or what are you thinking?
Well, I'm on wait and see mode with Illinois because I've heard Illini fans say that Brad Underwood is a great program builder, but he's not exactly a great in-game coach. And we're going to see in a little bit as to why. So I'm on wait and see mode with Brad Underwood. But as for the Alabama Crimson Tide, they smacked Buzz Lightyear Williams and the Texas A&M Aggies 100-75.
Yeah, Jackson, at least you get to celebrate something, I guess. As me over here, I'm waiting for football season again. You, on the other hand, your basketball team's doing pretty good.
Let's see what they could do in March Madness. I don't want to see them be that team that's always falling apart in March. I mean, I'm not gonna expect Final Four, but I want to see if we can get to an Elite Eight.
Yeah, that's fair. At least see you team go far.
True. John Fanta is calling Dayton to go to Phoenix. Thoughts? Let's, you're muted.
I'm kind of torn because I've seen some of Dayton's games, and at times they've impressed me, Jackson. But at times I've got so many questions about them, like and plus they're not in as heavy lifted as a conference as some of these other teams are that are contenders as well. And I'm not trying to hold that against them, but when they get in this tournament where they play most of all the big boys, the big programs, can they hold up? I get Dayton's have been on a roll lately, but they're playing not as great competition. So let's see what they could do in March. If they can make it past the first weekend, then I might start to think about that conversation. What about you, Jackson? Are you sold on Dayton yet?
Let's see if they can make it out of the round of 32. Because I mean, their non-con schedule. I mean, they had a chance to prove themselves against Houston. They lost by double digits. They even lost a tight one to Northwestern. And I'll tell you though, Northwestern beating up on Dayton earlier this year, that's going to help Northwestern get into the NCAA tourney. But I can't really find any big wins that mean big wins for Dayton. So it's going to be interesting to say the least on what happens with the Flyers. Dayton should be the Big East 12 team. Agreed. And while we're at it, let's add VCU to the Big East. And let's add Syracuse to the Big East. And let's add Pittsburgh there.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Add Temple and rest of the Philadelphia 5.
Well, speaking of the Big East, Jackson, Creighton got a big win over Butler on the road, 79 57. Took care of business rather lightly.
Oh, yeah. But I'm interested to see what happens against UConn. That's going to be interesting. But I know Oklahoma State's pretty happy over upset BYU.
Jackson, talk about another team with a lot of momentum and build behind them. And then they get beat, and then they go on the road to Stillwater, and they get beat by 10. Like, see, Jackson, this is the nature of the Big 12. You can't predict this stuff. Because I'm sure when you and Will predicted this game, you both had BYU winning probably comfortably over Oklahoma State. And then they do this. This is why I can't trust nobody in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even hit this game because we thought this was going to be a dominant BYU victory.
Boy, howdy, Jackson. Did Oklahoma State make believers out of you, huh? Just like they did me. I'm in the same boat. I had BYU winning by 10.
As for Wisconsin, that's another team that has disappointed all of us. They had a beautiful start to their season, and the month of February has just been a disaster. I mean, did their date get mad at them for not spending a bunch on Valentine's Day or something? Is that why they're going down? Good grief.
Well, Jackson, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Jackson, Wisconsin was ranked, I believe, in the top 10 almost. And now they've lost 3 out of their last 5 or 4 out of the last 5?
They lost 5 out of the last 7 games, but yes, you did.
That's still
Anthony.
not good.
That's right, Anthony. You called an Iowa win. I mean, that was huge for them. Question is, are we seeing Iowa as a bubble team yet, or do they have to win out and possibly win the Big Ten tournament?
I will say this, Jackson. I was frustrating because they're a team that takes a lot of threes, and if they're hitting them, look out. Iowa could beat anybody in the Big Ten. But if their 3 point shot is not falling, Iowa's not going to beat really anybody. I mean, they've struggled quite a bit this year. I mean, like again, they lost to Indiana, who's on the struggle bus as well. Sorry to our friend Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports out there, but Indiana's kind of on the struggle bus, and Iowa should have won that game, but they let it go at the end. There's a couple of games, like I believe they let the Rutgers game go, and that's concerning, Jackson. You want to talk about not finishing games? Iowa can't finish games, and they can't, and they're not consistent. That's not going to get you very far in March.
No, it's not. It is not. I know Iowa's been very unsatisfied with Fran McCaffrey, but I guess we'll wait and see what happens. But I mean, maybe it's just me, but is Virginia basketball the college basketball version of Iowa football?
Yeah. Well, Jackson, I do have to say, the one thing we can't say is at least Virginia has won a championship more recently than Iowa football. So
And they score
do have
40
that.
points.
See, here's the thing, Jackson. This is why Virginia, a lot of people, put faith into them because they're like, oh, look at Virginia. They're holding Wake and they're holding Carolinas and the Dukes. They're holding them right around 50 on average. And then they're winning these games, and people believe they could take this into the tournament. You have to realize, yes, you're playing these ACC teams, but you also have to realize too, Jackson, once you get to March, you're playing everybody. You'll play Marquette, UConn, Purdue. And not every team plays like they do in the ACC style of play. Because what if they run up against someone like Alabama, who's put up 100 points, I believe, in their last two games? Like, Virginia might get run off the floor with Alabama, and it's gonna be ugly. Like Virginia, this is concerning. I'm glad they got the win for all the Hoax fans out there, but whose fans? But this is very concerning. Only scoring 49 and winning.
There you go.
Go ahead, Jackson.
That's the way it goes. Big East teams will play your game better than you. Yeah. Yeah, Big East teams and Big 12 teams, they will chew you up like a chicken nugget in March.
Mm-hmm.
Please don't tell me Indiana State's gonna miss March. Like, don't do this to us, Indiana State. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us, Indiana State. Don't get our hopes up and then miss March Madness. Please don't. Don't do this to us, Indiana State. Big 12 basketball. We see TCU winning a tight one against Kansas State. And we see Nebraska winning a big one against the Penn State Nittany Lions with a 68-49 victory. World's largest outdoor cocktail party. Ooh, I bet Georgia's regretting hiring Mike White from Florida because they have not beaten Florida at all with him.
Yeah. Jackson, at least Florida could say that they own basketball. At least they could say that. Now, when it comes to football, good luck.
Well, and, I guess their non-conference schedule in basketball is usually better than football usually. But this year looks like it will be an exception. Oh, here we go. Purdue's favorite team, Fairleigh Dickinson. Sweet. Don't make us sad, Detroit. We were just happy about you last week. We were celebrating you. Don't do this to us, Detroit. Win another game. Arkansas. You keep disappointing us. Ooh. Cincinnati, Central Florida, new kids on the block going against one another in tight fashion in a 76-74 victory.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Jackson, proving to be better than they were in football this year. And the thing is, Jackson, I believe Cincinnati is on bubble watch as we speak. I believe they are. Or are they in the field that we know of?
Oh, anybody in the Big 12 that's got a 16-9 records on the bubble watch. No
Okay.
doubt about it.
Well, because I believe who did Cincinnati beat that was a big one? I don't believe they beat Kansas, did they?
No.
Who did they beat that was a really good quad one win? I can't think of it right about now.
Well, I mean, they've beaten BYU. They couldn't beat Dayton, unfortunately. They beat TCU. They beat Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's the one. BYU and Texas Tech. Those are the two wins that I was referring to. Are those two quad one wins gonna be enough if they don't win the Big 12?
I guess we'll find out and see. I mean, just keep winning, Cincy. Especially do what you gotta do this weekend and next week. Man, we got some sad-looking games, don't we? Oh, well, Georgia Tech beating Syracuse. Well, Syracuse isn't what they were, but maybe they'll go back there eventually.
Yeah, unfortunately for Syracuse, they're in the penitentiary of West Virginia.
We see Washington State having a big win over Stanford. Wonder if they get some bigger wins in the upcoming next few days. Maybe they made some history. Guess we'll find out and see. Oh, don't do this to Austin. Don't do this to Austin, Louisville. You're breaking his heart. Don't do that to him. And we see Boise State dominating Fresno State in big fashion. NC State winning a tight one against Clemson. Michigan State beating the Scott Frost of college basketball in Juwan Howard. At this point, it's time to pull the plug.
And Sorgie's story says, really, Pitt? Yes, Sorgie. We're not a very good basketball team. We're better than we were last year, but we just can't be consistent. I'm sorry. Like, I wish we were better. Trust me. I would love to be a tournament team every year again, but we got to go through hard times to get back to where we want to go. Not everybody can be Marquette.
Well, Gonzaga smacked around Pacific, but I mean, you're supposed to. Let's see what you can do for the rest of the schedule. San Francisco, congrats on Loyola Marymount. Colorado, congrats on beating USC. And Nevada beats UNLV in tight fashion in 69-66 victory. And now we head on to the Sunday slate. The Ohio State upsets the Purdue. And I'll tell you right now, every time a top two team comes to Columbus, Ohio, they tend to do well against the top two. And on top of that, it was with their interim head coach, with their new interim coach.
Yeah, Jackson, Ohio State with the stunner. I mean, Jackson, they fired their head coach. And what happened? They got the biggest win of their season over Purdue. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, and and Purdue's only lost 3 games. So this was a pretty big win. And I feel like Ohio State, if they could get things right, maybe they could be a little bubblicious. Maybe.
Bubblicious. Nice. I love that. Bubblicious. Trademark that quote, Austin.
Bubblicious.
Nice.
Maybe.
There you go. And then we got South Florida playing their way into the bubble watch with a big upset over Florida Atlantic. And, they upset Memphis a few weeks back. That's pretty big there.
Yeah. South Florida. Who would have thunk it, Jackson? I mean, that's something that I never saw coming. I was like, South Florida, I kind of predicted that they'll be maybe a 10-15 win team, maybe win a few big games here and there. But for them to be where they're at now, that is something that we did not see coming. And Jackson, was Florida Atlantic, were they just a Cinderella story? Has the hourglass hit midnight on them?
Well, as someone said, light sands through the hourglass, so the days of our lives. And that's what it's looking like for Florida Atlantic as of now. South Florida could pull an upset as a 10, 11, 12. I know I'll be betting on them this March.
Yeah. Let's see if they could get there first before we go, because a lot of things can happen. We still got some games to be played, and who knows what can happen. But right now, it's looking really good for them. Oh, Wichita State, how you have fallen. So sad. And just to think, Jackson, they were on the cusp of going undefeated and winning the whole thing about 6-8 years ago. How they have fallen.
It's just pitiful. But Sister Jean has our love with a 77-67 victory over Rhode Island. And we see, let's see. Drake Curse not coming today. That's for sure. What are you doing?
Nigeria, that's Northwestern, another big win. Northwestern stacking them up, Jackson. They might be a Cinderella this year.
Yeah. I mean, Boo Booey and those Wildcats are looking big. And we see Satan Hall.
What happened to... Go ahead, Jackson.
We see Satan Hall had a big win over St. John's. And like you said, what happened to Memphis? Let's go with that. Take it away, Austin.
I don't know, Jackson. Memphis was ranked, I believe, at one point this year, and now they're starting to fall off. I hope they don't fall out of the tournament. I mean, I would hate that for Penny Hardaway. I mean, such a legendary player, and like Sorgi said, yikes, Memphis. Exactly. You're letting SMU put over 100 on you? I mean, make them look like the second coming of Kansas here. Good grief. Get it together, Memphis.
They look
and painful. As you said, Jackson, Seton Hall with a big win as well. And and Seton Hall, they're looking like a really good tournament team right about now. Hopefully they could keep it going.
Well, I know Coach Patino has not been too thrilled with his St. John's team. He has not.
Yeah, he made some comments that might have been ill-advised that you don't say to your team.
Well, sometimes the truth hurts. That's the way it goes.
True. I get it. You want your guys to play better. I get it. But
yeah, they are. Minnesota's looking pretty terrifying as well.
I like that, Sorgy. They're terrifying. Put that on a t-shirt. They're terrifying. But yeah, Minnesota looking good. Looking good. Now Rutgers, that they've had some good years, but they're kind of not as good as maybe they should be. We see Utah getting a big win. Jackson, what happened to UCLA? I'm not used to them being with that many losses this time of year.
They're pitiful. That's what they are. UCLA is just pitiful.
I get when you lose a lot of talent, you go down just a little bit. It seemed like they went off a cliff for a while.
Marquette has had trouble against the men's and women's teams against Seton Hall. Yes, they have. Now let's look at the Monday schedule. We see Houston had a big win over the Iowa State Cyclones, getting some revenge.
Yeah, they got them back because Iowa State beat them at home and ended Houston's undefeated streak at 14-0. But this time they were heading to Houston, and Iowa State found out real quick, you're not sweeping the Cougars, not on their home court. You know, as good as Iowa State has been, and obviously they're in the top 10, it still doesn't matter. Houston will play anybody, anytime, anywhere, and they looked really good in this game.
Yeah, Chicago State had a huge win, and it was their last game of the season, of all things. That's a big win right there, 93-70. That's big. Congratulations on ending the season on a high note. Virginia Tech. Oh. You're pitiful, Virginia. You're pitiful. You're pitiful, pitiful, Virginia. You're worse than Iowa football.
I tried to warn you. I told you, Virginia. Jackson, Virginia, that they do this every time. People get so riled up like, oh, Tony Bennett's going to do it again. He's going to make teams grind it out. And then this happens. It just goes to show if you don't got offense, especially in college hoops, you're screwed. And this is Virginia Tech. We're not even talking about Kansas or the Purdue's of the world. We're talking Virginia Tech, Jackson. Virginia Tech. Let me put that out there one more time. Virginia Tech.
One more time for a big effect.
Virginia Tech.
So true, man. Man, I mean, I was just like, is this football or basketball? Well, this is real life. Yep, this is basketball.
And Sorgy writes, right now Virginia is projected to play Michigan State. That's an L because Tom Izzo in March is a scary man. Sorgy, he's historic in March. Like, you never bet against Michigan State in March. No matter how bad Tom Izzo's teams seem to be in the regular season, they always find a way to make at least a Sweet 16, Elite 8. Always. Never write Tom Izzo and the Spartans off. I learned that the hard way a couple years ago. Busted my entire bracket.
Oh, I still get mad about 2018. I mean, that's why I've been like every year since then, I'm never picking Virginia to win it all. I'm never last year, I believe I picked them to lose in the round of 64 and it worked out. And Vegas odds makers ask, sir, how much would you like to bet on Virginia winning the round of 64? They're a -7.5 favorite. I'll take the plus money line. Well, okay. Well, Texas is winning against Kansas State. I'm not impressed. They're not looking so good. But onward to Tuesday, we're going to see some. Oh, man. Creighton upset the #1 team in all of college basketball. Man, Connecticut just cannot win on the road, can they? This was hangover effect game, wasn't it?
Jackson, they didn't just beat UConn, they smacked them. That was a beatdown. Like the score doesn't tell the whole story. If you watch that game, Creighton controlled that entire game. UConn did not look like the #1 team on Tuesday night. Creighton looked like Marquette spell Jesus' get revenge for the Golden Eagles. I will say this though, Jackson. Are you concerned for UConn after this? Or is this just one of those it happens. We can get over it. Go ahead, good buddy.
I think UConn's fine at home, but they clearly can't get it done on the road because I'm looking at their schedule, right? They lost to Kansas on the road, and they lost to, let me see who they lost to. I know they lost to Creighton on Tuesday night, as we see, but they lost to St. John's. They are not so good on the road. Not so good on the road, but they're great at home. So I'll tell you one thing. When Saturday comes, I'd hate to be Villanova and Seton Hall next Sunday. But when they go against Marquette on March 6th on Fox Sports 1, good luck, UConn. You're going to need it. Those Golden Eagles are going to chew you up badly. As for Tennessee, I don't want to look at it. I mean, Tennessee, I mean, you're supposed to beat Missouri. I mean, this isn't the past Missouri teams in college basketball. I mean,
Jackson, you don't want to give Tennessee credit, do you?
They have to do well in March for me to give them credit.
If there's any Tennessee fans listening, don't mind Jackson. He's just very. You have to earn his respect, and plus he's an Alabama fan, so it takes a little longer with you all. But he'll eventually give it to you. Hold on, just hold on. I'll talk him into it.
I mean, you just gotta win the big games in the postseason. That's all I ask. That is all I ask. Do that, and I respect you, balls.
Well, speaking of winning big games, Jackson, BYU with a great bounce back win at home, 78-71 over the Baylor Bears.
The Baptists versus the Mormons, and the Mormons win one of the first editions. Nice.
Well, Jackson, I will say this. You know, they got a pretty big game, Baylor does, coming up against Houston. Maybe this was a little look ahead. What do you think? Do you think this was a look ahead?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was perfect look ahead game right there. I mean, they're thinking more about Houston than they were about BYU. It's like, oh, we're thinking about the Cougars, baby. BYU, right? Oh, no, we're thinking about Houston Cougars. You might want to think about those BYU Cougars. This week is Cougar week.
Yeah, the Cougars are on the loose, Jackson. So everyone watch out. The Cougars are on the loose. Beware, Cougars are on the loose. And Sorgi brings up the battle for the Bay is won by St. Mary's. Yes, it was, Sorgi, and what a fantastic game that was. I got to see some of that game. Saw like the back 8 minutes of it, back half the 8 minutes of it. Pretty good game, and St. Mary's seems to be finding their way back. After they got written off, St. Mary's looks like they're starting to find their way back again.
So true. I mean, the immaculate St. Mary's started the season off at 3-5. Now they're at 22-6. I say they've earned a spot in the NCAA tourney. I mean, that they've had a tremendous turnaround for the season. And as for San Francisco, I can't help but feel like if they were Gonzaga, we're not even discussing as to whether they're in the bubble watch. San Francisco, I mean, I get they don't have that many impressive wins, unfortunately, but they are a pretty good team. I mean, they got that win over Minnesota. I mean, that's got to count at least for something. I mean, I guess they got to beat Gonzaga on February 29th. Then they got to win the West Coast Conference tournament, I guess.
Yeah, Jackson, when you're the smaller teams, it takes a lot for the committee to get impressed with you. San Francisco, the Fighting Bill Russells. Jackson, speaking of, is the hourglass hit midnight? San Diego State losing to the Utah State Aggies. San Diego State. That's not a very good loss. Well, Utah State has sprung some upsets this year. Are the Utah State Aggies, Jackson, are they a sleeper team for March?
I think the question is, should we merge the Mount West and the West Coast Conference? Think about it.
Ooh, I like your way of thinking. I do, because it would combine everybody. But
yeah,
is it good for business, though? Does everyone get a little piece of the pie?
Yes. I believe they would.
And Sorgi points out, I believe that we will win gets us the dub.
Oh, yeah. I mean, see, Texas Tech winning a tight one against TCU, and Villanova winning a tight one against those Butler Bulldogs.
Yeah, and Villanova, this could have been the perfect look ahead, Jackson, to UConn, but they didn't do it. They didn't fall in that trap. But go ahead, though.
Merge those two conferences. Why? Well, you got Gonzaga, you got St. Mary's, and I know Washington State is going to be in the West Coast Conference for non-football sports starting next year. So, I mean, that would be big right there. And San Francisco is a pretty good team. So, if the Mount West Coast Conference both merge together, it can be a huge win for a school like a San Francisco. And it would be the premier basketball league for the West Coast. I mean, I know that, the West Coast, they're just trying to figure out, they got some schools in the Big 12 here, the Big 10 there, a few schools in the ACC. But I mean, the West Coast Conference and the Mount West both together, it'd be a huge moneymaker for college basketball. And you can make a lot of money for all the schools. And you don't even need to be like a Gonzaga fan. Like, imagine Gonzaga, San Diego State, St. Mary's, Utah State as a conference game. Think about that. Yeah, you have a point there. Like, schools like Pacific are, not so good, unfortunately. So there is that, but we'll get it all figured out. Serge says, my dad is pushing for an all-Catholic conference. Marquette, Villanova, St. Mary's, Gonzaga. That'd be pretty cool. Nice.
And Sorgi also points out, shout out to Nova on the bubble. Yeah, Villanova, Jackson, here they come. Look out. Is Villanova starting to build momentum at the right time? We shall see. Syracuse gets a nice win over NC State. Florida State beats Boston College. Holy mackerel. West Virginia won a game, Jackson, but they beat UCF. So, congratulations to the Mountaineers fans, but you beat UCF. You're supposed to, in basketball at least.
Oh, man. Well, and I see Iowa beat up on Michigan State. So that was a big win right there. And we see Arkansas won a tight one against Texas A&M. We see Davidson won a big one against Fordham. UMass dominated VCU. What is going on with VCU?
Yeah, sorry, Will. Will, I'm rooting for VCU, but it's not looking good, buddy. I watched this game and I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh no. That was holy cow. Well, Wake Forest dominated Pitt. Wisconsin's getting back on the wagon with a victory over Maryland, but I mean, well, Maryland's not doing too hot. So, I mean, that's something.
Yeah, that is true. At least Wisconsin got the W this time. They didn't blow it.
Nope. Well, Nevada and Boise State had some dominant victories on Tuesday night. So that was big right there. Now let's get to Wednesday. Marquette rebounded nicely against DePaul. Oh man. That's gonna be big right there.
But Jackson, it's DePaul though. I mean, I'm sorry, Sorgi, if you're I'm sorry if you're listed, Sorgi, but you're supposed to beat DePaul. They're 3-22. Like I'm happy they won for you, but DePaul's one of the worst teams in all of college hoops. So, yikes. I'm happy they got the W, but you're supposed to take care of business there. Duke took care of business as well, Jackson. What happened to Miami? They were a Final Four team. What in the world is going on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Miami's just falling apart. But as Sorgi points out with Marquette, Tyler Kolek had a school record of 18 assists. Big right there. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least there's some history makers
sure.
there.
But did anyone check out? Yeah, I mean, that Penn State comeback. Did anybody see that? That was wow. No worries, man.
Yeah, Jackson, Penn State. What a victory for them. I mean, Illinois. They can't seem to close out games. I mean, well, what is it with Illinois? They can't close out games, can they?
No.
I mean,
this is like the 5th time Penn State has made a comeback from double digits. I mean, they were down by 14. Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't know if this says more about Penn State or if this is more about Illinois not being able to keep a lead.
I think it says more about both, but that's just me now.
I mean, Jackson, and another game that was really, really fun. Your Alabama Crimson Tide got a 98-93 thrilling comeback win against the Gators. Jackson, those Gators almost chomped you. Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was nervous about it, but this is a huge win for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We see George Mason upset the Dayton Flyers. Man, Atlantans get wild over here for the should-be 12th team of the Big 12. I mean, not Big 12, Big East. I mean, why am I getting my leagues mixed up?
Jackson, the thing about it is is we were just people. Sorgi just brought up that John Fanta has Dayton going to Phoenix. Can't be going to Phoenix when you're losing to George Mason.
No. And we see LSU upset Kentucky in a buzzer beater with a fantastic finish, man.
Jackson, this made my Wednesday. I saw all this game and I was so happy. Kentucky went down to Baton Rouge and got beat. But Jackson, all bias aside though, Kentucky really should have won this game. They were up by 15 and they lost it at the end to a very pedestrian LSU team.
Well, I'll be really honest. If Kentucky wasn't a blue blood, they'd be on the bubble watch. Or they would be like, we'd be debating as to whether they should get in. But because they are a blue blood, they're in no matter what. I mean, they'd have to have 14 losses to be out.
I mean, they would have to have a year like Carolina did last year, Jackson, for any questions to start happening. But as for Kentucky, like you said, they're a blue blood, so there's probably not going to be many eyebrows raised towards them.
But we see the Pit is a very intimidating place, especially for road teams that go to New Mexico, like Colorado State. I mean, New Mexico won a tight one, but still, though, the Pit, that's a dangerous place. What do you think about this game, Austin? Man.
Yeah, I saw most of this game. The Pit, like you said, is a dangerous place to go. Colorado State, they had been looking really good, and they were ranked in the top 25. But New Mexico was able to get it done there, Jackson.
Yeah. It was big right there. Don't do this to Austin, Notre Dame. Don't do this to, I mean, love you, Notre Dame, but don't make Austin suffer. Okay, get those sad Podol guys. Make Louisville feel bad.
It's okay, Jackson. We beat them in football. We beat them where it counts. We're the reason Notre Dame didn't make the college football playoffs, so they can have basketball.
Oh man. Oh man, tonight's show is going pretty good, man. It's I'll say it for Will, go Irish. Sorry, Austin. Oh man,
it's okay, Sorgi. It's okay. I got the Denver Nuggets for basketball. So when my college team goes bad, I got my pros. Go ahead, good buddy Jackson. Sorry.
There we go. Denver Nugget, Denver Nugget, Denver Nugget, low down. Denver Nugget, Denver Nugget, Denver Nugget, low down. Okay, playtime's over. Oklahoma State having a big win over Cincy, 80-76, and Clemson smacking around Georgia Tech.
Jackson, Oklahoma State starting to make a name for themselves out there, aren't they? They're getting big wins left and right. Now they beat Cincinnati, a team who might be on the bubble, who might be a team that was in the field. Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be losing to Oklahoma State, Cincy. No offense, OK State. My boy, American Football Network is happy with his Tigers. Oh, yeah, man. Check out American Football Network. I mean, he is a top-notch YouTuber, that's for sure. Check him out. Also, check out Sorgi Stories, as they got some great adventures, especially on the baseball fields during the Major League Baseball season. St. John's winning a tight one against George. Okay, yeah, this isn't 1980s Georgetown, but because it's your first year at St. John's, their Coach Patino, I'll cut you slack.
Yeah, Jackson, as long as they don't start popping champagne and celebrating over this win, we'll be good. If they start doing that, then we have a problem.
Oh, yeah. Johnny's. I love it, man. Jason, you're awesome. We love you, man. Man, the Wednesday slate. Oh, South Florida looking nice against UTSA.
Another big win. Wow, Jackson. Not many games to talk about after some of the bigger ones have gone.
Yeah, but it looks like Indiana State's getting back up.
Uh-huh.
Memphis getting back up. Drake's doing all right. Nebraska finally won a road game. They finally won a road game. But it had to be against Indiana.
Oh, and Georgia beat Vanderbilt, Jackson. Let's celebrate. They beat Vandy. Wait,
Yeah, no.
it's Vandy. You're supposed to beat Vandy.
And Mississippi. What are you doing, Ole Miss? What are you doing, Ole Miss? That is not good.
Sorgy Story points out, who's that coming down the track? I guess referring to Georgia's fight song. Who's that coming down the track? It's a big red mean machine or something like that. I don't know the complete of it, but I've heard it.
Oh, man. Well, UNLV's beating up on Air Force, but not exactly Air Force football, so not impressed. But we look at Thursday's game. Well, Purdue, they spiked Rutgers. Wow.
Yeah, Purdue got back on track, and Jackson, they needed this win because many people were starting to think Purdue might be slipping off just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson, because a lot of people were getting concerned, is Purdue starting to slip because it is March and people are almost March and people are getting concerned. Like, this is how Purdue's downfall always begins.
Yeah. I mean, like, Purdue is always going to win at home, but they don't do so hot on the road. But would you like to see a history-making game from last night at
Yes,
midnight?
Jackson.
The glass slipper fit a certain someone that's not going to be in the Pac-12 very long. That's going to be a Pac-2 member in football and most certainly going to the West Coast Conference next year. And they are the Washington State Cougars.
Jackson, it's Cougar Week. You know what? We're gonna make this official. It's Cougar Week, everybody. So if your mascot's a cougar, you're guaranteed a big win. Go ahead, good buddy.
Oh yeah, all Cougars are welcome, man. All you Cougars, y'all are welcome, man. Everybody's welcome. Who are we kidding? Everybody's welcome. Wazoo, baby. This is the first time since 2009-2010 that Washington State has swept Arizona. And the first 8-game winning streak since several years back. And I mean, Kyle Smith has done a terrific job in his 5th year at Washington State. I wonder who's going to get him. Do you think he's going to be happy in Pullman? Or do you think he's going to look for a better job? That's what I'm wondering.
Jackson, he seems like a very loyal guy. I think he might stick around, especially if Washington State gets some offers from maybe if they see the success of this basketball team. Who knows? Maybe the ACC or the Big 12 or maybe the Big East might jump in and say, "Oh, we'll take you, Washington State. If you could continue to be this good, why not?"
Oh, yeah. I mean, why not? Like, I'll be honest. I think the West Coast Conference is going to be happy to have him next year. I mean, think about it. St. Mary's, Gonzaga, Washington State going against one another. That's going to be big. And, I mean, you got an in-state battle with Gonzaga, Washington State. Man, that's going to be big.
Yeah, and another thing too, Jackson, is Washington State has beat Arizona on the road, and not very many teams could say they go to Arizona, go to the Kale Center, Kalen Mack Center and beat the Arizona Wildcats. Washington State now has that on their resume. And with this win, Jackson, I think they might have just solidified themselves a spot in March.
Oh, yeah. They most certainly did. I mean, you're tied for first. Well, you're already in first place, especially with that sweep over Arizona. I mean, this is a huge, fantastic finish. I mean, the free throws and like that big plays they made in late game last night. Man, I felt like a kid in a candy store watching this game.
Yeah, Jackson, I stayed up after I stayed up and watched this entire thing. This was such a great game. I'm so happy Washington State got the win. And hopefully they don't have a letdown game next week. Washington State, please don't do that. Please, that would ruin all momentum. We can't have that. We need you to be maybe a borderline top 5 seed. Maybe. But Jackson, were there any other good games on Thursday night?
Well, let's see. Florida Atlantic's rebounding nicely, like they're supposed to. So there's that.
And they got a nice win over SMU.
Yeah, it's tremendous right there. And let's see. Man, okay, well, I'm not going to get too mad because Detroit they won a game on Valentine's Day. So there's that.
Boy, Jackson, this Thursday night slate is ugly.
That's right. Ugly. How you doing tonight, Traveler Fools? Glad to see you on, man. And we see Minnesota reminded Ohio State, don't be getting too cocky. That's what they were reminding those Buckeyes.
Yeah, Jackson, it was a letdown game. Minnesota got them. Another letdown game took place, and Ohio State they got a little ahead of themselves, and it cost them. But Minnesota, another big-time win, another resume-building win.
Tarleton State upset Grand Canyon. I mean, good grief. Oh, man.
Well, Jackson, there goes Grand Canyon's hopes of possibly making the tournament.
Oh, Northwestern beating up on the Scott Frost of college basketball.
Well, you're supposed to do that. Michigan is in purgatory. And Gonzaga beating up on Portland. Well, let's be honest. Gonzaga, you're supposed to. Like, don't get too excited. You're not back.
I think Gonzaga's going to get in just fine, honestly. I mean, honestly, I think they're in. All they got to do is really win out the rest of the regular season. They get in. I mean, if they were anybody else like San Francisco or Loyola Marymount, we wouldn't be discussing it.
Mm-hmm. But now it's prediction time.
Oh, there we go. The Friday slate's pitiful. That's right. We didn't pick it, did we? And here we go. We got the Houston Cougars and the Baylor Bears on CBS.
Hold on. Let me go get the popcorn and the sodas. Jackson, you want anything? You want a hot dog? You want some nachos? I'll bring some back so we can watch this game because this is gonna be great.
I'll be all right for now. I mean, I'll take some waters. I'll probably have Coca-Cola though.
But in all seriousness, this should be a great game. I'm looking forward to this. What a way to start your Saturday. Houston and Baylor. I mean, Jackson, this right here is going to be fun. I think, honestly, Houston's going on the road where they have struggled just a little bit. I believe it's a noon game, Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're in the Eastern time. I'm in the
Yeah.
Central time.
I think this is going to be a really physical game, Jackson. I feel like Baylor, they need a big marquee win on their resume, after losing to BYU and losing some of these heartbreakers like they did to Kansas. I think Baylor really needs this win. I think Baylor's at home. They're going to feed off the home crowd. And, Houston's tough, but if Houston's not getting out in transition and playing their type of basketball, they struggle. They showed it against Iowa State. I think in this game, I think Baylor's going to get the win here. I think the home crowd in Waco, I think Baylor's going to feed off of it. They're going to get a big-time win. I'm going 74-69 Baylor.
I'm picking Houston to win this one. Well, we got another good one on the Big Ten Network between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Penn State Nittany Lions.
I would like to pick Indiana, Jackson, for Jeffrey's sake, but Penn State has been playing really well, and they got that big win over Illinois. Could this possibly be another letdown game in the making? It's on the road for Indiana. They haven't played very well on the road. And Indiana's not looking very good right about now. I'm going to agree with Sorgi. I'm going to go Penn State 64-60. I think they squeak it out.
Yeah, I'm going with those Nittany Lion Kings as well.
Yeah. Ooh, a good one, Jackson. How about Arkansas, Missouri? The old classic rivalry. Now, I know you love rivals, Jackson, but is there going to be an upset in this rivalry?
No. Going Arkansas in this one. That's a 70-60 victory.
Yeah, I'm going Arkansas at home as well, 81-70. I think they win by 11.
Oh, we got a good one between Duke and Wake Forest on ESPN.
Ooh. I mean, very interesting. Duke on the road against a surging Wake team who possibly wants to be a tournament team. Is there a potential upset here? I mean, this will be a good game, but I think Duke is too talented, and I think they've already beaten Wake once. And I think they go on the road. They beat Wake, I think, again. I think Jeremy McCain and Phil Pawski have some big games, have a big game in this one. I got Duke winning 77-68. I got the Blue Devils going on the road and getting a big win.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Duke's going to win 66-61. And we got a good one on ESPN Plus between BYU and Kansas State. I'm going to go with Kansas State for the upset.
Me too, Jackson. I'm going Kansas State as well. They're back in Manhattan, back at home, home sweet home. Give me Jerome Tang and Kansas State to pull off this upset, 65-58.
Then we got NC State going up against Boston College on the ACC network.
Give me NC State at home.
Same.
Sorry, Boston College, but you're going to Wolfpack territory. NC State's a tough home team.
Just be glad you're not on the CW, Boston College. Ooh, we got the State Farm Center between Illinois and Iowa on the Big Ten Network.
This is going to be a really good game, but Illinois is at home. They should win. They should win because Iowa does struggle on the road, but I might pick Iowa. I might, because this is something. This is something Iowa might, because Iowa always seems to do this. But I'm gonna pick Illinois, Jackson. I'm going fighting Illini. I think they get it done at home. It's close, but they get it done.
Man, I was gonna say, was that your final answer?
I'm picking Illinois, Jackson. I'm picking Illinois, but I'm not too sure about it. Not confident. Who are you going with?
Illini. But here's a game you might be a little confident in. Cincinnati, TCU.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game. I'm going with TCU. I got TCU winning a barn burner at home. Give me the Horned Frogs to get the win at home. What about you, Jackson?
Horned Frogs. But we got another good one. The Ole Miss Rebels and the South Carolina Gamecocks on SEC Network.
Give me Ole Miss, Jackson. I'm going running Rebels to get the victory at home. Give me Ole Miss to win. I think this is going to be a marquee win for Chris Beard and company over the South Carolina Gamecocks. This is my first big upset of the day, and Sorgi agrees with me. Ole Miss in an upset.
And we got two great games. One of them is North Carolina, Virginia on ESPN. And the other one is the Alabama Crimson Tide going up against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Jackson, who are you picking for Ole Miss, South Carolina?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. North Carolina, Virginia. Because that's a great point. They haven't won in Virginia since 2012. Clint Moses says that streak ends, but Jackson, call me nuts. Call me nuts. I'm going with the Virginia upset. They're a Virginia upset. Carolina's going on the road, hostile environment, defensive slugfest. The Cavaliers get this W. After getting blown out, they're going to show the world that they're not going away yet. And Clint Moses just called me nuts. Thank you, Clint. I am a little nuts, yes. But I'm still going Virginia in an upset.
Well, I'm going to go North Carolina. It's going to be 65-50.
Jackson, since this is your team, Alabama, Kentucky, who are you going with, good buddy?
Oh, I'm going with Alabama on this one.
Jackson, as much as it hurts my heart to do this, I'm picking Kentucky. Yeah, I'm going Kentucky. They're at home. They play really good at Rupp Arena. I'm going Cats.
Somebody forgot to tell them Gonzaga's coming to their backyard. I think we're going to see that same effect happen for Kentucky.
And Jackson, your favorite rivalry in all of college basketball, the Bedlam, the last edition for college basketball, at least for a while. Jackson, are we having the same script as we did in football? Is Oklahoma State going to do it again? Or is Oklahoma getting them back for what they did to the football team?
I'm going to go Oklahoma.
You know what, Jackson? Give me Oklahoma as well. I almost thought about taking another upset, but I don't want to be called nuts twice in a day.
Well, I think the Bedlam rivalry could be safe in college basketball, but football, we know it's not coming back for at least a few years.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma as well. Ooh, got a good one right there, Jackson. Air Force in New Mexico. Air Force going to the pit. Can Air Force survive?
Oh, New Mexico will beat Air Force. I mean, it's in the pit, so I'm not even put that game on the list.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to Mexico as well.
Let's see. Good grief.
Good grief, Saturday. You start off hot and then you slow down on us.
Well, maybe Texas, Kansas can make us feel good.
Jackson, I'm going Jayhawks in this one. One there, it's in the fog. Kansas rarely loses at home. I agree with Sorgi. Kansas, I think, wins this game by a good margin. Sorry, Texas, but you're going to the fog.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech. I think Pittsburgh's going to smack them around. They're going to tell them, hey, we're not Virginia. So you can't do what you did to Virginia to us.
Yeah, I'm going Pitt as well.
And we got Auburn over Georgia. So that's going to
Yeah,
be
no upset here. Put me down for Auburn. No upset here.
Man, Saturday's looking sad. Well, we see Villanova UConn on Fox. I think UConn's going to get a rebound victory. It's going to be a 86-55 victory.
Yeah, put me down for UConn as well, Jackson. They're at home. They're gonna rebound. They're mad. They're angry. Give me UConn. I think they're gonna get a 91-78 victory.
Oh, you're being nice about it. There you go. Well, we got Tennessee and Texas A&M on ESPN at Thompson Bowling Arena.
I'm going Tennessee because it's in Rocky Top, but I'm not confident. Going Tennessee 75-71.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee will win this one. I want to see what you can do in your next game after that.
Oh, boy, Jackson. Washington State's going to the desert. Is the desert going to haunt another Pac-12 team?
Oh, man. Not this time.
Jackson, I got one thing to tell you. Not so fast, my friend. Arizona State in the desert. The curse strikes again. Arizona State with the upset. Give me the Sun Devils.
Well, we got a good one as well with UNLV and Colorado State at the Thomas and Mack Center on CBS Sports Network.
Give me Colorado State, Jackson, to bounce back. 66-60.
I'm going to go Colorado State as well. There you go. I'm right there with you, Sorge. Right there with you.
It's okay. When Arizona State wins, I'm going to call Jackson and let him know about it. Don't you worry.
Don't count your chickens for their hatch yet. You got to let the games play first.
Oh, don't worry. We'll let the games play, good buddy. Don't you worry. We're never going to jump the cow over the pond before it's early.
Well, we got Seton Hall going up against Butler on Fox Sports 2.
Seton Hall.
You're going to put DePaul and Georgetown, I believe, on Fox Sports 1, but not Butler, Seton Hall. Come on. That's disgusting, Fox. I mean, like, Georgetown, DePaul are so bad, they should be put on the Fox Business Network. I mean, put them on after Stuart Viney. You know, stay tuned after the Stuart Viney show for Georgetown, DePaul. That's going to be a great game. Yeah, right. But
I'm going see. Oh, go ahead.
we got Mississippi State and LSU on that one. You think LSU's gonna win this one?
Ooh. You know what, Jackson? I'm going to take Mississippi State. I think the Bulldogs get it done.
Well, I'm gonna go LSU on this one, and I know you and I are going with Seton Hall over the Bulldogs of Butler.
Utah, Colorado. That'll be a fun one in Boulder. The question is, though, Jackson, where is the primetime magic at? I haven't seen primetime yet.
He'll be on 60 Minutes or something like that, or he'll be on Pat McAfee. Just don't have him near Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. Good grief, that. Oh man.
True, but Jackson, does Colorado get a home victory?
Yeah. Yes, they did.
I'm going Utah.
Wow. I can't wait for this to be a Big 12 game next year. I'm excited about it. Man, the last one we got USC and UCLA on ESPN. I think that's going to be the last time we see a USC UCLA matchup of any kind on ESPN.
Jackson, give me UCLA to win at home. I got them beating the Trojans.
I'm going to go Trojans on this one.
We could split on that one. Good grief, Saturday. The late night games are not very good. Let's see if Sunday can wake us up.
Yeah. I think St. John's going to straighten up.
I got Creighton winning this one, Jackson. I think they're a better team right now, and I think they're playing better.
Well, we see SMU going against South Florida on ESPN2.
Jackson, give me SMU to get the upset W. Going Mustangs.
I'm going USF. I'm going with those running Bulls.
Maryland Rutgers. That ought to be fun.
I'll go Rutgers.
You know what, Jackson? I'll go Maryland. I'm going to believe in the Terps to go on the road and get a win.
There you go. I'll be going Rutgers on this one. Purdue's going to beat Michigan like they're supposed to. Florida Atlantic Memphis is going to be better. I mean, can Memphis get the job done? Because, I mean, they have a chance to sweep Florida Atlantic. Or is Florida Atlantic going to show them who's boss now that they're in the AAC?
Jackson, I'm going Florida Atlantic. I think they go on the road and beat Penny Hardaway in Memphis. I'm going Fighting Owls.
I'll be going with the Owls as well. The Fighting Dusty Mays.
Good grief. Sunday is terrible. Look, Jackson, it's your boys Tulane.
We're not picking, but we'll be picking Ohio State, Michigan State. Who do you think is going to win that one?
Michigan State, Jackson. Tom Izzo, I think this is the time for Michigan State to start getting hot and start cooking with some fish grease. I got Michigan State winning at home.
Oh, I got Michigan State as well. But we got St. Joseph's and VCU on CBS Sports Network.
I think VCU wins. Get the win for Will, VCU. Make Will proud. Go Rams.
Right here with you. And then we got Xavier and Jacques Marquette on Bot Sports 1.
Yeah, I agree with Sorgi. Marquette gets a nice win. They're at home and they've got the momentum. I'm going Marquette. Jackson, you gonna pick an upset?
Nope. I'm not that crazy. But this game might be a little big. It's a big bubble watch game. We got Minnesota and Nebraska on the Big Ten Network.
Give me Nebraska at home. Give me the Cornhuskers to get a home victory over Minnesota. Give me Nebraska.
Right here with you. Cornhuskers all the way. And we see a good one between Miami and North Carolina on the Dean Smith Center on ESPN.
Yeah, give me North Carolina to win at home. I think Tar Heels will bounce back nicely after getting beat.
And we see a good one between Baylor and TCU on ESPN, the rivalry.
Jackson, give me Baylor to get this W on the road to keep their big momentum going.
Oh, I'm going TCU right there on this one. And we see a battle between Cincinnati and Houston on ESPN2.
Give me Houston. Houston's at home, and they'll want to bounce back, especially if they lose to Baylor. Give me Houston.
There you go. And we see Kentucky going against Mississippi State on ESPN.
Are you going with Houston as well, Jackson, or are you picking an upset?
I'm going with Houston.
Who are you going with, Kentucky and Mississippi State?
I hate to say it, but I'm going Kentucky.
Yeah, I am too. I'm going Cats. I think they go on the road to Cowbell and win.
Kitty cat go meow. But we got Virginia Tech and Syracuse on ESPNU.
I'm going Q's. They're in the dome. They're at home. I'm going Orange to get the W.
There you go. Then we got Pittsburgh going against Clemson on the ACC network.
I'm going Pitt. I'm going Pitt to get the road dub.
Reluctantly, I'm going with Clemson.
Ooh, Wisconsin, Indiana. Ooh, got a good one. But unfortunately, I'm going Badgers as well.
Sorge disagrees with us on this one. I hope you're right, Sorge. I really hope you are.
I do too, Sorgi, but Wisconsin, they're going to beat up on a struggling Indiana team. Georgia, LSU. Jackson, do the Bulldogs have some magic in them in Baton Rouge? Or are the Tigers going to go around?
Tigers all the way.
Yeah, Jackson, give me the Bulldogs. Woof, woof. The big red mean machine Georgia Bulldogs get it done on the road.
Well, we got a good one. That's so disrespectful that this game's on ESPN Plus, but oh well. BYU and Kansas.
I'm going Jayhawks. Fieldhouse in the fog. Yeah, I'm going Jayhawks.
Well, we see Texas Tech on ESPN.
Give me Tech. Give me Texas Tech.
Right here with you. And we're going to see if Iowa can pull it off against Penn State.
I'm going to say they can. Iowa at home, I think they beat Penn State, but it'll be in dramatic fashion.
I'm going to go right there with you. Good evening, Hummus Hero. Will is not here with us tonight. Autofill in Austin is here in Will's place for tonight.
Yeah, I was here. I'm here to sub in for Will. Put me in the game, coach. All right, Jackson, pass me the ball. I'm ready to shoot.
There you go.
Oh, and it went out of bounds. Oh well.
Oh, here you go. Here you go. We're gonna make this Nets pass. Boom. Nevada, Colorado State. Give us your take on it.
Colorado State at home gets it done. Give me the Rams over the Wolfpack.
I'm there with you. Colorado State. Well, we got a good one. The Auburn Tigers going against the Tennessee Volunteers on ESPN2.
Huh? Jackson, I really like. I know we got to pick this game, but can we call this game a draw? I don't know who to trust.
I trust Auburn more than
you know what, Jackson? Since you went Auburn, I'll go Tennessee. It's in Rocky Top. I'll go Tennessee. Ooh, Providence and Marquette. Sorgi says Providence scares me, but I've got Marquette. Sorgi, if this was on the road, I might pick Providence. But this is at home for the Golden Eagles. Give me Marquette. Jackson, you going to go with an upset at all?
Nope.
Oh, good Lord. Please don't make me watch this game. Please, Jackson. Louisville, we're going on the road to Duke. Oh, dear heavens. Haven't we been punished enough? Jackson, please don't make us pick that game. Please.
You're not. No worries. You won't have to tell me twice. You're good to go. And we see Northwestern going to Maryland on the Big Ten Network.
That's going to be – I might watch that game over whatever game's on it, other games on. That's going to be fun. Now, this is two teams that could be fighting for their lives when it comes to the tournament. Jackson, Maryland at home. I think Maryland gets it done.
I think Northwestern gets it done. We won't pick at Xavier DePaul, but if you're gonna air at Xavier DePaul, have like Peter Griffin, Stewie, and Brian from Family Guy call the game. Like do that, or have like Bob's Burgers call the game. That'd be
or better yet, Jackson. Why don't we get you to call the game? You and Sorgi could call the game between Xavier and DePaul. I like that. You and Sorgi could call it.
Well, it'd probably make it a lot more interesting than Fox Sports 2 can.
And Sorgi says, I'll volunteer to call that one. Good, Sorgi. You and Jackson could make a great team. And you could talk up how DePaul might win this game.
Or kind of like how SpongeBob Patrick were calling the Super Bowl. I'll do you one better. We'll loan it to Disney XD. Be like, here, Disney XD, have Phineas and Ferb call the game. It's that bad. Make it fun somehow.
I think, and Hummus Hero points out, I think Maryland is pretty well eliminated from the tourney at this point. I mean, they could win the Big Ten. I mean, I doubt it, but they could.
Good idea. I like it. Ooh. Some of these games look set. Well, okay, not this game. Iowa State, Oklahoma on ESPN. Oh, come on. Why are you putting it on ESPN Plus, man? Don't do that, ESPN.
Oh Lord. I'm going Iowa State, Jackson. I got Cyclones winning at home.
Yeah, I got the Cyclones as well. And let's see, we got South Carolina and Texas A&M on the SEC network.
Give me A&M at home.
I'm going South Carolina.
Ooh, Alabama, Ole Miss. But before that, we got Minnesota, Illinois. Go ahead,
And
Jackson.
St. John's and Butler. So right now I'm gonna go Butler.
Give me St. John's.
Johnny.
And give me Illinois to win in Champaign.
Oh yeah, they'll win that one for sure.
And sorry, Jackson, I hate to do this to you, but Ole Miss at home gets the dub over your Crimson Tide.
I'm going Crimson Tide on this one.
I respect it.
Seton Hall versus Creighton.
Jackson, give me Seton Hall for an upset. Going Seton Hall, getting the upset.
There you go. I'm going to go Creighton on this one. And we got the Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts battle in Silvio O'Conte Forum between BC and Virginia. This feels like a 50-48.
Oh, dear. I'm going to take Virginia. I'm not confident in that, though, Jackson. I'm not confident.
And we head to Thursday. We got Nebraska going to Ohio State on Fox Sports 1. Reluctantly, I got to go Buckeyes.
I'm going Cornhuskers to get a road dub.
Wait and see what happens. And well, there's Rutgers versus the Scott Frost of college basketball. Now we're not
Give me I was going to say Rutgers.
Oh, yeah. I'm going Rutgers as well.
And Hummus Hero points out, Ohio State has been terrible, but they actually have 2 top 15 wins. Yes, Hummus Hero, but Ohio State has been very inconsistent, though. I do have to say. That's what makes me skeptical when it comes to picking them.
Well, they did have Chris Holtman as their head coach, so that's why they were very inconsistent. But I think they're a lot better with their interim coach.
Good grief, Jackson. Is there not any good games on Thursday nights?
Would you like to see if Gonzaga San Francisco is? Honestly, that looks like a great game.
Sure, why not? Although I'm going to pick Gonzaga. Sorgi says give me San Francisco in an upset. Ooh. Okay. I'm going Gonzaga, though. Zags win on the road big time.
Reluctantly, I'll go the Zags. But I'm going to tell you right now, if San Francisco wins against Gonzaga, do not be shocked if we start hearing a debate as to whether San Fran would be in if they were Gonzaga. And finally, we have the Friday matchup between the Atlantic 10 battle of Loyola Chicago and Dayton. Oh, you're muted. What were you saying?
Give me Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago to get the upset dub at home. I'm going Sister Jean. I'm agreeing with
Yep.
Sorgi. Sister Jean in an upset.
Love Sister Jean, but reluctantly, I gotta go Dayton.
That's fair. I mean, this is a toss up. I wanted to pick Dayton, but something's telling me that Sister Jean is gonna be there and is going to help with this upset.
Sister Jean at Asheville, San Francisco. Yeah, I believe that was when. Oh crap, that was in the 50s, I believe, with Bill Russell. Holy cow, that was wow. I'm hoping that we see San Francisco get more respect in college basketball. That would be huge right there. 1950, yep, Bill Russell twice, 1955 and 1956. And that's all the games for Saturday through Friday. And let me tell you, it's going to be wild. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, it is, Jackson. Oh, go ahead.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in all college basketball. I mean, that Gonzaga-San Francisco matchup, that's one I'm really going to be watching for Thursday night. I'll be staying up like a kid on a slumber party for that one. Ooh, you're muted.
Sorgi has a question before we go, Jackson. Let's answer it, shall we? Question before you guys go. Your final four predictions as of now and a sleeper pick right now. I go Houston, Arizona, Marquette, UNC based on ESPN's current bracketology. Jackson, I'll let you go first.
Let's see. Oh, man. Let's look at the bracketology. Good grief. So I'm looking at it, and on the East, I see UConn and Kentucky, Iowa State, North Carolina. I'm going to chance it with UConn on the East region. And I'm going to go. I want to put Alabama there. The Midwest is a toss-up for me, but it's not going to be Purdue, that's for sure. So maybe New Mexico's the Cinderella team?
Jackson, I got my final four. I've had it in mind for I got my four.
Let's see. The West is gonna have Auburn or Kansas as the West region champ because Arizona can't get it done in March, unfortunately. And Houston is gonna win the South. So it's gonna be Houston versus UConn in one of the Final Four matchups. And I'm going to have to say Marquette versus Kansas. But do not be shocked if Washington State or New Mexico or Dayton or Baylor or St. Mary's or Alabama make a big run. Because there's a lot of teams in that Midwest region that can make a big run.
So, Jackson, my four as we sit tonight is Kansas, Duke. Get ready for this one. This is going to knock your socks off here in a minute. Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, and then my sleeper, Michigan State.
Oh, wow. You think Michigan State made Cincinnati make the past Final Four or what?
Jackson, I believe we're going to get a Duke Carolina Final Four rematch, and then we're going to get a Michigan State Kansas side of it. And then my sleeper, my Michigan State is my pick because I feel like this is what Tom Izzo does. But my actual sleeper, this one might shock you. Jackson, but my sleeper, give me possibly as a sleeper, a very dark horse. Give me Northwestern as a sleeper.
Wow. There we go. I'm loving it. I mean, Michigan State going against Tennessee. I'm going to tell you right now, Tennessee better be running for the hills. Exactly.
Jackson, I have Tennessee getting beat before the Sweet 16, like they always do. I might be nice and let them get to the Elite Eight, maybe, depending on what side of the bracket.
I don't even think I'm going to have them making it out of the round of 32.
Like we're rough on Tennessee, but Jackson, can you believe it? It's almost conference tournament week. March Madness is almost here. I mean, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm like a kid on Christmas again. And you know what that means, Jackson? That means we might see some upsets. Who knows? Who knows, Jackson? Maybe we see a team like Grand Canyon make a immaculate Final Four run. Who knows? Or maybe Marquette goes all the way to the championship and then gets beat at the buzzer like North Carolina did a couple years ago. Who knows?
Or maybe somebody gets that perfect bracket.
That's kind of hard, to be honest with you.
Well, it is kind of like finding gold in a gold mine. It's hard to find it.
And Sorgi points out, when the clock strikes midnight and it's March 1st, you cue the one shining moment as my alarm, LOL. Absolutely. March Madness is the funnest time of the year. I can't wait. Unfortunately, I won't get to see Louisville in March Madness, unfortunately, but I'll be rooting for Alabama, Marquette. I'll be rooting for those teams for you guys, and maybe even Ohio State for you, Hummus Hero, if they make it.
Oh, there we go. Or maybe Marquette wins it all for the first time since 1977 before Big East days. I mean, man, those must have been some dark ages in college basketball. No Big East. Oh, man. That had to have been a dark age.
But I will say, though, Jackson, I will say, before we get out of here tonight, I want to thank everyone for stopping by. Had a lot of fun filling in for Will. Will will be back next week, and I'm sure it'll be even more fun when he gets back. But I appreciate you having me on, Jackson. Can't wait for great college hoops Saturday. And even though they still stink, go Cards.
Well, and you can also find me on YouTube at Jackson Johnson 979. I'm 201 subs away from getting that magic number of 500. I'm not yet there, but I'm getting there. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads right here at Jackson09960335 on Twitter and on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908. You can find Austin right here at Sports Talk with Austin 2002 on YouTube and at Austin W 1980 2639 on Twitter. But also, you can find our good buddy Will right here at Will ND Irish on YouTube. Find him at Marcus_error on Twitter and at Klowski414 on Instagram and Threads. And we thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of the College Basketball Recap Preview Show, Hummus Hero. Impossible to keep up with Jackson on Threads. Well, I did my best, man. I did my best. Great fun as always. We got a new sub from Sorgi, man. Congrats, Austin.
Thank you, Sorgi. Thank you, Sorgi. Can't wait for you to get to watch some of my videos. Hopefully you'll like it. And hopefully Marquette gets you a championship. At least someone's got to have some joy around here.
There we go. We're getting tired of all these blue bloods dominating everything. Let's give one to Marquette.
Or maybe it's Alabama's year finally, Jackson.
I guess we'll wait and see. We just gotta get through the Sweet 16 first.
But Jackson, as the old saying goes, we're out of time. But don't be sad. We'll be back later. Or Jackson will be back next week. As me, on the other hand, it's back over to the land of nowhere. But in between times, we're out this thing, man. Yonder. Go Cards, everybody.
Roll Tide and stay safe and stay warm. It's cold out.